it's not just did you lose, but it's how you lost. And
Yeah.
but let's even fast forward. I say, all right, Yankees had some of their opportunities. I wasn't watching Yankees baseball all year, but the one thing I noticed in the World Series, Dodgers almost never make mistakes. And the
Yeah.
Yankees just sloppy baseball. And it's just kind of crazy to watch, whether we're talking about that fifth inning in game 5 or other moments where it felt like base questionable Aaron Boone calls when he's going, calling a certain player into the bull or from the bullpen. What did you think of Yankees Dodgers? How much of that was the Dodgers just purely being a better team? If they go out and play another 7-game set, they'll win in 5 or 6 games. How much do you also think that the Yankees just fundamental baseball was as ugly? I mean, literally plays that you're thinking of in spring training in March that the guys are working on. They were trying to figure out in the World Series.
So if I told you, Alan, that Shohei Ohtani goes 2 for 19 in the World Series and the Dodgers win that series 4 games to 1, I think we'd be having a conversation that you'd say Dodgers lost that series, right? The Dodgers ran the table, against the New York Yankees 4 games to 1. And I think the Dodgers didn't play their best baseball. The Yankees beat themselves for that. I think some worry crept in with fans when it was up 3-0, and then the Yankees in game 4 opened the floodgates and beat up on, I would say, the lowest tier of the arms the Dodgers put out there. And that's just how it happened. That was a part of the game. Going into the series, it was about, I believe that the Dodgers can match up with pitching after game 1 better than people expect. Everyone talked about the depth of the Yankees starting pitching. I didn't think it all outweighed what the Dodgers had. I felt the Dodgers bullpen, if they were going with the tier 1 guys of the bullpen, I was like, they can match up with anybody. I'm not, it's just going to flat out come out to who can hit. That's just how it is. The pitching, and I believe it's going to be there. The Yankees bullpen can match up. They've done a great job. Aaron Boone's done a great job deploying guys. I wasn't concerned from the pitching thing, and you saw it. The Yankees bullpen took care of the Dodgers for majority of the series up until game 5. So it was about, can you play within yourself? And you got to see that. And baseball's a ridiculous game. It rewards you. Dave Roberts said, you play the right way. You respect, you respect the game. The game's going to reward you. You play with it. And we got to see exactly what Joel Sherman, that article came out and said that the Yankees had made up in talent what they lacked in fundamentals. And it caught up with them. They got careless. Aaron Judge takes his eye off the ball. Anthony Volpe going to his right, throws to Jazz Chisholm, who's not a third baseman, boots the ball there. Garrett Cole doesn't cover first base on a spinner that goes to Anthony Rizzo, who stays back on a play that happened in the first inning. The same exact spinner off Mookie Betts' bat. They execute that play flawlessly. Later in the game, extends the inning, and the rest is history. Dodgers are World Series champions. So all of those worries that even, you saw, the lack of fundamentals, all blew up in the biggest game of, the 2024 New York Yankees, and cost them a chance at possibly, making history there. Because at that point, my thing was that Dodgers are up 3-0. No team's ever come back from 4-0, in a World Series. And no team's ever forced a game 6 after being down. And I was like, is this really going to be the one? It wasn't that time.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I think I listen to a lot of times. I like doing this, especially if I'm covering a team or anything like that. I'll go listen to the other side. So I'll listen to a Yankee broadcaster, a Yankees radio station, and just kind of, okay, what's their perspective? And
Sure.
their perspective, I think, just to simplify it, they kept saying that no, that is the Yankees all year long. They would either they're hitting home runs or they're not hitting at all. And their fielding was eventually going to catch up to them. That they just played sloppy baseball. If
Yeah.
you they gave the Dodgers 6 outs in that 5th inning. They gave them an extra inning. That's how somebody explained. Michael Kay, who does the broadcast for the Yankees, it was the best explanation I ever heard. He's like, imagine giving that lineup. Imagine saying, hey, we're going to get 9 innings, but you're going to get 10 innings. That's what the 5th inning was. The 5th inning for the Dodgers, it was set up for them. We're going to give you 6 outs. What can you do with it? And the Dodgers like, well, we're going to score 5 runs to tie the game, and that's exactly what they did. But I guess that was kind of the that sloppy style of baseball that most people saw, and I know it was magnified and it was unbelievable that you had 3 errors in an inning. Um, but I think it was not just magnified, but that's kind of what the Yankees were all season. That's not the Dodgers. Dodgers do all the little things. Dodgers, if they have, I mean, heck, when they went down 6-5, that was a perfect example. It was Kike getting a hit. It was Tommy Edman with an infield single. Obviously,
Yep.
the catcher interference, Shohei's on first. But what happened after all that? You had 2 flyouts that had 2 runs score from third, the sacrifice to even get the runner from second to third. Just the small little things that the Dodgers did. All of a sudden, they're up 7-6. They capitalized on everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're spot on there. And that after that, Dodgers go down, and you say you got to manufacture a run. You got to make it happen here. Yankees bring in Tommy Kahnle, who's throwing an ungodly amount of changeups in a row, just doing it, and just flat out doesn't have the feel for it. Kike Hernandez stays on there, just like you said. Dodgers had an inning going, and Gavin Lux, who had worries. Like had people worrying. He did not look good at the plate. He was getting outside of himself. He was working at bats, but when he wasn't, when he was expanding for a not a very productive out. He was striking out. It was a rollover to second base, and he barrels, goes up, has change up here, right off the rip. Tommy Kahnle gets pulled from the game. Luke Weaver comes in, just firing fastballs, and he's overworked. Luke Weaver was put out there, and I know I heard a lot of Yankees people saying, if you're going to put your closer in, give him a scoreless inning. But baseball happens. And Gavin Lux puts up a 6-pitch at bat, gets a sacrifice fly, ties the game. Mookie Betts comes in. And this sacrifice fly from Mookie Betts was such a big deal for me, just because it capped off years of struggles for him, that he was just over. A lot of people are coming out, ripping on Mookie Betts, blaming other stuff here, getting really uncharacteristically, I would say, against, 50, because he's been a pillar for the Dodgers since joining them in 2020. And then he goes up there and a chance to take the lead in the World Series, and he barrels up a first pitch fastball up and away, gives them the lead. And you see this fist pump from him right out of the box, because he knows he does his job. And that's the stuff, Alan, that I remember immediately. When I see those moments, I pick up on those little things, and I could only feel how he was feeling in that spot. Because just like you said, the Dodgers are going to do the things the right way. They're going to play that fundamental baseball. And I can't imagine how you give this team extra outs, especially in the biggest game, when they know all the pressure is on the Yankees. And I thought it was ridiculous for the Yankees players to say, yeah, all the pressure is on the Dodgers to finish this out. You're up 3-1. You guys still have to even up the set. So it was just a bunch of noise for them. And I'm still thinking, like, how do you give them extra outs? And it just all played out perfectly in that game 5. The comeback, the collapse there, the poor fundamentals, the Dodgers going up there, and Teoscar Hernandez's swing in a 1-2 count to barrel something up and put it over Aaron Judge's head earlier in the game, tie it up. It's just so many things in one time, all perfectly came together for LA.